We all have those moments in gaming. The ones that make you cheer, the ones that make you sweat, and the ones that make you wish you never invited your friend to play this game. But what about the moments that just irk you? The ones that make you question how this possibly got into the final version of the game. This is my top 10 list of the biggest gripes in gaming. Video games are just not ready for microphones. They aren't responsive enough, and often the minigame or the whole game itself ends up being dumb or pointless. And while I'm trying to crush everyone at Mario Party, I don't want to struggle with non-responsive controls that require you to speak about 5 seconds early. And even if you do time it right, there's a high chance it didn't hear you correctly. There has to be a better way to handle voice commands. But based on my interactions with Siri, it might be a bit longer before that happens. This mostly occurs with replays. If I've played a game many times, I want to be able to skip useless dialogue, or at least speed it up. Often I spend a good deal of time during cutscenes zoning out and pressing the A button repeatedly, like it's going to affect the speed of the text. I get that this is a deep and plot-filled moment, but if I just died and went back to this point, I really don't need to hear all this dialogue again. Personally, I don't need Bowser's Master Plan 4 separate times. One is quite enough.
You know when you're playing a game and some character says, "Let's race," and you think, "Oh cool, what are we racing? Speedboats, jets, brooms?" No, you're just running. Because you know in a game where you sprint across the map every 3 seconds, you just aren't doing enough running. Races make so much more sense when they're at the beginning of the game and you're just getting used to the controls. It's showing you the ropes, I get it. But if we're halfway through the game I have to chase this guy, it's stupid and it feels like they were trying to make the game longer. And it turns out it's nearly impossible to beat him without cheating. It's challenging, sure, but boring. And these chasing quests, if you get too far behind, they wait for you. That's not a race. What bad guy waits for you to catch up? A real race waits for no man. A real race keeps you on your toes. But in these little missions, I have leisure time to stop, smell the roses, and spray a few birds.
Fetch quests are okay if I feel like I might be getting something exciting out of it, or if I like the characters, then I will go out of my way for them. But some side quests just feel like walking in circles. I don't mind one that requires a specific skill, but I must have gone through the whole town about 4 times for one quest, and trust me, that gets old quickly. And I'm not in the mood for games that make me run in circles without any real reward at the end. I always found it irritating, even as a kid, when as the character is talking, the most important words are highlighted in some way. Personally, if you were following the plot even a little bit, you should be aware of what that is, without it being in red. It was almost like an insult. However, I never really minded it until Skyward Sword. Now here's a game that has great graphics, a pleasant plot, and clear controls. Yet how are you supposed to use these new, updated controls if you don't know what you're doing? The developers clearly went bonkers with the color coding, thinking about how easy and wonderful it will be now that everyone will be able to skip all the colorful dialogue and only read the important words. But what they were not thinking about was which colors they were picking and which backgrounds they would go on. Just look at this. It's important. I know, because it's in red. But what does it say? No clue. Ooh, more important information? Sorry, can't read it. You actually have to stand up and get really close to the television if you want any hope of reading some of this stuff. While most of the items on this list are issues that will take programming and time to fix, I feel like this really shouldn't be that difficult. Just darken the background of the text boxes and make the colors more uniform. So this is more like this, and we can all figure out what we're supposed to be doing. Stamina. Short and sweet. I don't like it. I feel so restricted. I understand that it's supposed to be tactical sometimes, like having a backup so you don't get stuck, and reserving your best powers for special occasions. I get that it's realism, but I'm frickin' Link, the hero of time. I want to sprint everywhere and climb vines without these stupid little green things, which are placed all over, so it's not really tactical unless I decide to just stop moving. Plus, once I save the entire world with a Kokiri shield. Clearly, this whole shield breaking thing is nonsense. I mean, just look how stable it is. Now, this one is highly specific, and it might be a tad high on the list because I've replayed Luigi's Mansion so many times. But the boos. Throughout most of the game, you have to hunt them down. Seems easy enough. Play hot and cold until they come out and vacuum them up. Not too bad, right? Wait, why is this weird egad asking me to save? Oh well, at least it's convenient, right? Wrong. Why do you save after every boo? Because after level 3, they are impossible to capture. There is no way to lock onto a boo with your poltergust, so once you find them, they are free to escape at any time. And they will escape. Again and again and again. They can also go anywhere in the whole mansion, phasing through walls like it's their job. And every time they change rooms, you are forced to chase them. But even that's not enough. Every time you find them again, there they are, floating, gloating, and laughing at your misery. Their boos with 100 HP are no problem, but once it's 200 or 300, you better just settle yourself down and prepare for a long and painful journey. Then, when you finally succeed, EGAD lets you save right then and there, as if the developers are trying to apologize for the last hour you spent running in circles. Apology not accepted. Interruptions. I could be gimmicky here and interrupt myself right now, but the thing is, I don't like being interrupted. So we're not going to do that. Instead, I'm just going to complain about it. I don't want any cutscenes in the middle of a chase. Cutscenes should serve at the beginning or end of a section or as a transition. In the middle of a level, I don't want to talk. I want to play the game. Also, as I'm going through the level, I would really like to be able to get into the game, be on the hunt for Zelda, and use all my skills and tactics to get her back safe. I do not need anyone interrupting me and telling me things I already know. I thought Navi would forever be the bane of my existence, but that was until I met Fie. Seriously? A 90% chance? You interrupted my epic quest of sword slashing to give me a statistic? What happened to winging it? I want excitement and anticipation, the chance that at the end I'll find out that the princess is in another castle. I do not want a repetitive tidbit of gossip. This simple mechanic shows up in games more than I can count and often shows up where it's least welcome. The concept of fishing is simple and hardly needs explaining. You put your bobber in the water, wait for it to go down, and pull it back. But it's not exciting. Nothing is happening. At all. I'm staring at a little bobber just floating there. It's downright boring. Now, as you're watching these clips, you can probably figure out I'm also just really bad at fishing in games. Every time I get a fishing rod in a game, I can't help complaining. Fishing is literally everywhere and seems to be thrown in some games at random. It's just not fun. It's realistic, but it's not fun. When I play a video game, I don't want to just sit there and watch a black shadow or empty water hoping to get lucky. If I wanted to be bored, I could fish in real life. And when you do have a nibble, you need some quick reaction time or the fish will get away. Then, all that time you spent is wasted. Waiting. And waiting. Waiting. And doing nothing. I bet when I say boating in video games, everyone thinks of the same thing. But does anyone think of this? How about this? Probably not. After all, this is easy to control, fast, and you feel like you're really accomplishing something every time you leave the harbor. So why on earth is every other boating mechanic in gaming absolutely useless? Why can't this be more like this? It's even the exact same game. The worst culprit of all is Mario Sunshine. You are Mario on an epic quest of cleanliness, saving the Isle Delfino one polluted palm tree guy at a time, and collecting shine sprites, when after hours of honest work, you reach the final level. Looks amazing, right? And as you use your carefully honed skills to cross the treacherous terrain, you begin to prepare for an epic finale, when suddenly, you are greeted with the real boss of the game, the mud boat. Now, you might remember this from an optional coin collecting quest earlier. You might not. But you will soon remember it as the bane of all existences. The controls are god-awful. It moves at unpredictable speeds in only mildly predictable directions, and the sea of lava is full of these pillar things and walls that always seem to be directly in your path. And so you will die. Over and over and over. How can these terrible mechanics exist when this also exists? Look how awkward even Link looks. Somehow boating can make even the most epic quest into a chore. Well, that's all. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw or have a list of your own, please feel free to post in the comments. But please remember that everyone's opinions are different, and chances are I haven't played every video game you can think of. Catch you later.